Jake L. Fischer makes comments on Josh Giddey and how the Bulls see their future with Josh Giddey. And is he going to be the face of the franchise? How concerning would that be? Plus, we have wild trades from Bleacher Report that we're going to talk a little bit about and dive into the mailbag. All that and more right after this. What's going on, Bulls fans? Welcome to another episode of Chicago Bulls Central, your number one spot for everything Chicago Bulls related. I'm the host there, Hayes, but more importantly, you guys can follow the channel at Bulls Central Pod on every social media platform we happen to be on. With that said, let's go ahead and get into this content today, y'all. And according to Jake L. Fischer, not only do the Chicago Bulls plan on bringing Josh Giddey back, but they plan on him being the face of the franchise going forward. Now, them bringing Josh Giddey back shouldn't be surprising for anyone, right? I know that's going to stir up, again, conversations on $30 million worth it, not make him go out and find a deal or anything else like that. But I think one thing that you're hearing with this one is that, saying this, the working assumption is most front offices at this stage is that both Fred VanVleet and restricted free agent Josh Giddey, like Irving and Harden, will be staying with their incumbent teams. Now, that should be no surprise to anybody who's actually been paying attention to things here. Later on in that, he did mention, though, that the Bulls plan on having Josh Giddey as the face of their franchise going forward. And that is just something like, and this is, I want to be clear, this is not a knock on Josh Giddey and his talent or what he did or to shit on Josh Giddey or anything like that. But it's to say that he has a lot to show before he can be the face of the franchise, right? Like, that just says a lot to me. Like, face of the franchise, that's a little bit harder to get behind, right? Like, I look at the face of a franchise, like, I guess in a way, Zach LaVine was the face of the franchise, right? And that says a lot about the current state of that team. And so face of the franchise really just means the player that you're putting on your marketing, player that you're kind of building around, those type of things at that point in time, and less about the state of them being like a star or superstar in the league per se, right? So I think that's the first conversation that you have to have there on that part of it is, right? But then outside of that, outside of whether the face of the franchise or anything like that, I think this like for those that keep having the conversation, I know it's been one that's kind of just it pops up every 7 to 10 business days, right? We're having a new conversation on the validity of Josh Giddey getting $30 million, the Bulls being forcing him to go and meet with the Brooklyn Nets and whatever all that is. And we've had several conversations. I have no interest really on reinvigorating those talks. I can't wait. We got 35 days into the opening of free agency, and I hope that the Josh Giddey situation is solved on the first day, so we can just everybody who wish he went and signed it off elsewhere can get that out. Everyone who's going to be mad about whatever deal he gets, regardless, can get that out. We can just move forward with our offseason. And I'll do an emergency live stream, let everybody air their grievances, and we'll move the hell on, right? But I think this also says a lot about the state of the team, and this is why I say things like this Bulls team has no star yet. And that is for some players it's consistency, as a la Coby White. Some players, even Josh Giddey, right? Like, you got to show what you can do consistently with being the starting point guard, playing in that role. And he showed that a little bit towards the end of the season, but you have to, do more than that, right? Miles Buzelis, not a star yet. He's not even close to a star yet. And people think that like people who are kind of more the knee-jerky fans, anytime I say that, get a little triggered. And it's like, no, I hate to tell y'all, you can't be a star when almost 80% of your buckets are assisted and you don't shoot the ball effectively from anywhere on the court yet unless you're dunking the ball. You're just not a star there yet. He has the makings, definitely has the personality. I think he has the drive. I think he has all those things, and I hope that he's going to get there. But we're not going to act like he's there yet, and I think that's something that Bulls fans have a hard time doing at times, is not acting like a player is who they see them becoming. And I think that happens to all of us. I've done that before, right? So that's not an attack to any of you guys, but I think that that's just a common thing that happens, is that you put on a player who you see them becoming, and to Miles Buzelis' point, like, he's shown some really good flashes, but it has to be consistent before you can actually be a star, right? And so, you have those things that are there right now that, that this team does not have that yet. They're still looking for that. They're trying to find out how to get there. They're trying to find out how to attain that. They're trying to figure out who is going to be able to be that player that turns into that. Those are all things that are still here for this Bulls team. But until you get to that player and get to that place, you have to build your team around something. You have to build your team with a direction and a focus. And so, that's the thing that's happening here. And for those that look at the Josh Giddey contract extension like, you can't pay him just off since March, that's not what you're doing. You're looking at everything that he has done. Even and this is where it gets to people who look at things more analytically versus the people that look at things just on the surface level. You can even look at what he did in OKC, good, bad, and indifferent, and take away from that. All right, this is how we kind of this is what he did good here. This is where he thrived at, because that's going to inform how you build around them going forward. It's not as simple as, well, the OKC thing, you can't really take that into consideration at all. No, you take that into consideration too. You look at what he did there, because I think that tells you okay, these are the type of players he can and can't play with. And if your roster starts looking like that team, you're already going to know there may be a little bit of an issue there, right? That's one of the reasons why the consistency with Coby was so important to watch over this season. We saw a little bit of that towards the end of the season. We got to see if it's going to be a full-time thing, if they can do it day in and day out, right? So overall, it should be to no surprise of anybody that Josh Giddey is going to be remaining here for the Chicago Bulls. Now, how he gets there is going to be more of a surprise, and that comes down, I think, as well to if he has to go out and sign an offer sheet or not. We'll see. Can't guarantee that that's going to happen. Understand the thought process behind it, but we'll see what this Bulls team does, how they view it, how they look at it, and we'll see what the future does hold there. Now, with that said, we are in fake trade season. And so because of that, people ask about these fake trades. And, and to a degree, I think we talk about them a little bit, right? But at the same time, me, I'm not against being a myth buster here with my platform. And so Grant Hughes from Bleacher Report had a potential landing spots for Kristaps Porzingis article. And in that, the Chicago Bulls actually ended up on that list. And so the deal that Grant Hughes pushed forward here was the Chicago Bulls get Kristaps Porzingis, number 28 in the 2025 draft, the number 32 pick in this draft as well, and a 2028 first-round pick that's protected 2 through 14 via the San Antonio Spurs. Now, all right, the Bulls in that trade, they would send out Vooch, Dalen Terry, the number 12th pick in this draft. No, let's just stop it there. Kristaps Porzingis is a better center than Nikola Vucevic when he's healthy. There's questions about his health. There's also this is another problem that I see so much that some Bulls fans have, but also the media has. The Bulls, this is a move that if the Bulls are already a team that's went on a couple of playoff runs, that's when you're ready to mortgage your future as far as a guaranteed top 15 pick for 2 picks that are sub 28 and a pick in 2028, which is 3 drafts away, that's protected 2 through 14. No, you don't make that move. Kristaps Porzingis' contract is too high. It's only 1 year left on it, and the Bulls are not going to be a contender in that first year. No matter how good they are, the chances of them being an actual contender for a title is slim to none, right? And if they get there, great. Do that based off the backs of the young players that you have here that are building. This is just stupidity. And no, and that's not at Grant Hughes. I get it. You have to write your articles. You have to try to get your clicks some way, my boy. But this ain't it. This ain't it. This is a stupid move. This would be a dumb deal for the Chicago Bulls. And I think overall, we got to recognize that while, yes, AK is in a place where he does want to try to fight and compete for playoffs and things like that, that doesn't mean he's ready to mortgage the future yet. Remember when I said on a couple of episodes ago, the Bulls don't need to trade any first-round picks until they're a playoff team. None. They don't need to trade any first-round picks. Not at all. None. Until they're an actual team that's in the playoffs and they have either been very close to or have won a playoff series. That's where you get in the place where you can start selling off some future first. Not right now, not for a player above 30 that has had serious injury concerns and is a free agent at the end of the year. That's not where you make that move at. This isn't about sending out Vooch or Dalen Terry. This is about the 12th overall pick. That's what this is about, right? You do not send that off with the talent that's here in this deep draft for a player that could one and done you because he's probably going to want to go to a contender after the season ends. You don't do that in those cases. And so I hate these type of deals when they're pushed forward by these outlets that you can tell don't really watch the Chicago Bulls or the franchise. They're just out for an article. And again, that's his job. So no knocks on Grant Hughes. I'm trying to be a little bit better about coming at people. Now with kind of the way that this show is growing, I've realized I need to come at everybody's neck as much as I used to. But this is dumb. This is not a good trade for the Chicago Bulls. And so because of that, no, we hear your trade offer and we tell you to shut the hell up. So, and not to say that I think this trade will go down either way. I don't think that AK is going to sell patience and then trade the number 12 overall pick and talk about development and trade the overall pick. But then again, I didn't think he would talk as much about development and turn around and fire the head of player development. So, you never know on that one. But, overall, I think that it all comes down to where the Bulls are currently and where we stand at currently. This is not a time and not a place where we want to be giving up a 12th overall pick for a player that's an aging veteran that, like, this is worse than what the Bulls did for Nikola Vucevic. Because at least there, those picks end up becoming really good players and really solid picks because the Bulls didn't win at the level that they thought they were going to be able to. That's for sure, right? But at least then you had a player than Nikola Vucevic that was coming off being an all-star, right? He kind of fit what you did a little bit going forward. I think the chemistry with him and Zach LaVine was really good that first year. But this is not it. This is not it. You look at the talent in this draft, and I'd much rather hold on to the 12th overall pick personally. Because I think you're going to get a hell of a player and even a center that can be here a lot longer for you than what Kristaps Porzingis is probably going to be, and a lot cheaper rate at that as well. So that's my thought process. You guys can let me know how you feel on that down below. As always, let's go ahead and get into the mailbag for today, man. We got 3 voicemails we're going to get into. This first one, is from Josh.
Yo, this is Josh out in Arizona. I just left a voicemail, but I be forgetting about the 3 minutes, so I'm going to try and make this succinct. The teams with the most success in the playoffs right now currently are the OKC, who are up 2-0 on the Wolves in the Western Conference Finals, and the Pacers, who surprisingly are up 2-0 on the Knicks in the Eastern Conference Finals. Both of these teams are young teams who had kept their cores around for a couple of years. And it kind of reminds me of the Bulls and shows a path of success for which they could take. The OKC is a little bit more challenging process for the Bulls to take. They don't have a superstar right now like Shea Gilgeous-Alexander, and their defense is definitely not as top tier or elite. However, the Pacers, on the other hand, are more of a offensive, well-rounded machine, where I wouldn't say they have any big superstar on their team. Tyrese Halliburton is cold. However, I wouldn't put him in that superstar level. I think Josh Giddey could, get to a level of where Tyrese Halliburton is at. Maybe more of an offensive upside with Josh Giddey, but similar players and like the output for what they can put on for their team. But yeah, as you can see with the Pacers, that offense though, their offense and the defense is decent. Definitely a lot better than the season past. But with that offensive system that they use, that pace of getting up the floor and whatnot way faster than their opponents can, you've seen that was successful for the Bulls and worked a lot towards the end of the season. So I do believe that if we take a chance to keep the team together, we might be surprised at what we see. Yeah, those are my thoughts, and have a good one. See.
Great. Listen, the way that OKC Thunder did it, and I see a lot. This happens a lot around the NBA, not just in the Bulls community, where people are like, "You just got to do it like OKC did it." I think you need to look at how OKC did it. Yes, trading your players, right, or players that is not part of your future, or aging players and getting assets back. That's a tell as old as time. But what the OKC Thunder did is they traded KD, they traded Russ, they traded Paul George, they traded all those players while they were still near their prime, and they got them while they still had years left on their contract, and they were able to stack assets because you were trading either MVP caliber players or stars or wherever else you want to view it. So it's a little bit difficult. Like, yes, the Bulls should be looking to trade Nikola Vucevic. They're not going to get as much back as you got back for Paul George, KD, or so it's a little bit hard. They can look to trade Coby White. So but you aren't going to get the level of assets and picks back. Now, you could still trade. I still do think that with over $60 million in expiring contracts, the flexibility that the Bulls do have, you still look, if you know your player's not going to be part of your future, you look to move that player, you get back assets, you stack it that way. But I think for people, and I know you're not saying that in this voicemail, Josh, but for the people that think, oh, let's just do it the way OKC did it. Yeah, you're going to have a lot worse picks than what they've typically had too, but it's still a form of a model. Now, when you get to the Pacers, I do think that is a more legitimate way that you can do it, right? When you look at the Pacers, as much as yeah, Tyrese Halliburton is great, but look at how the Pacers, they've had playoff games where Tyrese Halliburton scored 11 points. If Josh Giddey or Coby White score 11 points, we're usually going to lose that game, right? So you want to build a solid team from top to bottom. When AK says the 9 to 10 really good players, that's kind of the model that he's looking at, but you still need a star. You still need somebody like a Tyrese Halliburton to lead that, right? You got a young player in Ben Mathurin who's really good off the bench. You got Pascal Siakam, who's been an all-star, I believe, over the course of his career at times as well, right? But that team is just built really well. They're coached really well. They execute really well. Those type of things. I think that is what the Bulls are trying to build to and the model that they're trying to go to. And it's not to compare the players one for one. I'm seeing the conversation out on Twitter. I'm not having the conversation on, is Josh Giddey as good as Tyrese? I'm not having that. That's not what I'm saying here. But I'm saying the model that they've done that with, as far as the players, the depth that they have, doing it as a unit, those type of things. That's what AK wants to build here, right? And if you get a star along that way, or God forbid one of those guys turn into a superstar, then you're going to be even better off. But I think that is the model that the Bulls are trying to build here, and we'll see if he's going to be successful at it. You know, you gotta have a game plan, and you got to execute that game plan. And that's kind of where AK's failed at, making smart moves at times. Hopefully, we start seeing that improve for the Bulls. Let's hope. All right, let's get into this next one, man. This one's from Shay.
What's up, Hayes? Look, I'm gonna need to lash out at some of these dumbass fans who are yelling, trade Coby White this, trade Coby White that. Y'all do realize that Coby White is in the same age range as some of the young guys. Now, he's a little bit older than Josh Giddey, I will admit that. But the fact that you hear some motherfuckers say, hey, rebuild properly and let's keep Josh Giddey, but let's move on from Coby White, is completely dumb. For these reasons alone. For one, they've proven that they can play with each other. And for two, you haven't even seen a full season of just them two in your backcourt. Most of this past year was with Zach LaVine. Well, half of that year. But let's just give them a full season to do this together before we start saying we want Coby White to be out of here. Another thing, you finally found something that works a little bit. Now, I don't know if it could be a consistent playoff run, but for the most part, by the looks of the Dallas Mavericks, y'all talking about getting the number 1 overall pick. Dallas, and let's just say Dallas, because Dallas got Cooper Flags. They were not the worst team in the NBA this year, so that tanking intentionally that shit definitely don't work. Case in point, the Chicago Bulls every year got the 7th overall pick, and we were dog water up until we got DeMar DeRozan. Another thing, look, I'm not saying that Coby White is a star, but damn, y'all really want to let him trade him away. And him and Ayo DeSumo have done everything that you've asked them to do. Work on their ball handling. Play with people that you have not played with before. And on top of that, his role especially has changed every year. And last but not least, please stop complaining about Coby White being inconsistent, because you would be inconsistent too. It's not like he's getting like the Patrick Williams treatment where he's a starter almost every year despite him regressing every year. To be honest, Coby White, Ayo DeSumo are the only two in this AK era regime that has done everything that you've asked of them. And y'all want to let Coby White go when you can re-sign him and work him out with Josh Giddey? Man, y'all some stupid motherfuckers. Anyway, hey, tell me what you think. Peace.
Okay, I think a big reason why you hear so much trade talk around Coby is because he's a pending free agent, and because of the team-friendly contract he signed last time, it leads him now to this best bet is getting more money out in unrestricted free agency. And so I think also maybe some doubt around the fit around Giddy and other things like that. There's a lot of things that play a part into it. And like I've said before, no player is untradeable. But some people have taken that as mean let's just give Coby away for anything, and let's just and even people who think like, oh, you're going to get multiple first back for Coby. Don't know about that, right? So I've said this multiple times. If the Bulls truly do look at Coby White and the situation, they know they're either not willing to pay him what they expect him to get in the open market, or they don't think Coby's going to re-sign here, you move his ass. Period. That's just the business aspect of it. Personally, I would love to see Coby White be in a Bulls uniform for the entirety of his career. And that's regardless of what some people say about, oh, he's not this level player. That means you should just trade him off. Coby's good. Now, can he be great is the question. And, for people who say that, like, Coby's peaked, I understand that because of his age. Like, I really do for people that say, oh, Coby White has peaked already. But then I look at a player that his role has changed every single year he's been in the NBA. If it does not change this offseason, this will be the first year that he's coming in to the same role that he left the season off on. So we'll see, right? And what that means for Coby. Maybe it doesn't. Maybe he is still the same player. But I'll tell you what, a player that was 31st in the NBA in the entire NBA in scoring last year, it's a player that you can build some things with. Maybe not build around, but you can build with, right? So, overall, I understand the people that say the Bulls should consider moving Coby in specific scenarios. But for the people that are like, we just got to move Coby. We just got to move Coby to move him. Otherwise, not there yet. That's not where I am. But we'll see what the Bulls end up doing this offseason, man. I think the worst thing, though, and I think we all can agree this, whether you're on the keep Coby side or the trade Coby side, the worst thing that the Bulls can do is that if they see the writing on the wall and then just let him walk away for nothing. I think that's the worst case in what you can do. What did we just talk about with the last voicemail? You want to be able to stack assets. To do that, you got to be willing and you got to be smart enough to know when you got to move off some players. That's my thought process, at least. All right, let's get into the last voicemail, man. This one's from Reggie.
Hey, this is Redro calling in. And I understand that some Bulls fans are, considering the guard from Illinois to be a credible option with the number 12 pick. But like you and Pat, I think it's ridiculous. Like, if you're going to go after a guard, Igor would be better. But you only go after Igor if you're not bringing back Josh Giddey, you're not bringing back Trey Jones, and you're looking to make a completely different shift for your future. And I don't think the Bulls are going to do that. So I don't know why people are, constantly putting that out there. But I would like to comment on the whole Coby White, Ayo Dosunmu trade rumors. Like I said before, I prefer if the Bulls kept Ayo, of the two. But I wouldn't move either man for less than an unprotected first-round pick. If not this year, then definitely in next year's draft. And when I look at who the Bulls could get, because you got the number 12 pick, if someone like Derek Queen falls to you, of course you pick him. But if you also get the 17th or 18th pick, then you can start thinking about maybe Colin Coward. But like I said, that's just something to throw out there. But I really would like to see what the Bulls can get, like the most they can get, not just just a draft pick thrown in there just to throw in there. I want to see the Bulls pick a direction. And all these trades, mock trades they're doing, it doesn't really show a direction. It just shows they're doing something just to do something. But what's your opinion on that? Thanks.
Going after a guard at number 12. Like you said, the only way that I can see going after a guard is one of two scenarios, right? Like I said in the live stream the other day, if the guard that you're taking, you legitimately look at that guard and you see star to superstar level upside, that you think they're going to hit on that, then you owe it to yourself to take that player. If you truly think that that's the best player on the board and that they have a chance to turn into a star, you take that. Or if you're changing the complete direction of your team, per Igor Dimon or KJ. Right now, Kasparis Jokic, not high on him at all. Don't like him. It is what it is there when it comes down to it. But I think that you have to, if you see that talent, you got to take him. Now, I don't necessarily see that in Igor or Jokic, but again, you pay people that are a lot smarter than me to make that decision, and if they see it in them, great. But I think overall at number 12, right? Like it's fake trade season. Like I said, my boy Justin over at Bloody Horns has a fake trade every day. That's just is what it is. We're in fake trade season, right? But I think it comes down to just making smart moves, and especially with your draft picks. I've said it before. You can't continue to miss on draft picks. You need to hit on draft picks, whether that's undervaluing their mentality, their whatever, their potential, whatever it is. You got to hit on your draft picks. So I keep those draft picks. Don't trade them off. And don't like I said, unless you truly see a game-changing guard there, like I potentially could see that in Ace Bailey. I do. And so if Ace Bailey, I'm sorry, Trey Johnson, Ace Bailey too, but Trey Johnson. If Trey Johnson falls at 12, I'm taking a very hard consideration, taking him and letting everything else fall where it may. But we'll see what happens there with the Chicago Bulls. We shall see what happens. But that's my time for today, guys. Make sure you guys are following us at Bull Central Pod. You can send us any feedback, questions, comments, concerns. bullcentralpod@gmail.com. Lastly, if you want to leave a text message and our voicemail for the mailbag, the number to do so, 773-270-2799. We are the number one spot for everything Chicago Bulls related, but that's thanks to you, lovely and beautiful people. And like I like to end every episode on, go Bulls. Love you guys. See you right if you can, y'all. Peace.
This has been a presentation of the Break Media.